Well, you see, with this banking sector cleanup, clearly, we've been questioning the way they parade, the liabilities that the banks were carrying without looking at the possible assets. Banks, as they exist, they play a major role in every economy. Their role, especially in Ghana, if we compromise the banking space, trust me, this economy will collapse because it's a banking, dominated economy, unlike the US where the financial markets dominate. So effectively, it is an area that we need to protect. However, having issues with the space and then in the end, trying to solve it, but then we spend and keep on spending, and in the end, we don't look at the possible assets that this bank came with. Now, banks, if you look on their balance sheet, they have both assets and liabilities. Now, as a receiver, you're supposed to take both the assets and liabilities. To some extent, I was asking questions whether if you take the asset side of a balance sheet of a typical bank, you anticipate that the liability will net off, this asset. So at the point where the banks were being taken over, what was the assets they had and what was the liabilities? We know depositors' funds are liabilities, but clearly these depositors' funds had been invested in certain assets. The question is, where are those assets? What I know very well and what brought about the problems of those banks, apart from those who registered with the state funds or those who use the minimum capital requirement from the same state to use as their own equity funds, clearly most of the banks registered as entities that have their own operations, and in the end, they should be able to finance themselves. But when you hear news coming out, all that you hear is that we spend this amount. We spent 21 billion cleaning the banking sector. Now, having spent this amount, what did you gain from it? And looking at the 10 million that is being extended to Yoko, I asked myself, so all this while, what were we waiting for to extend the 10 million facility to an entity that is going to help us unravel what went on in that space? So it is too late to hear that announcement from my end, but then it's better to be late than never. So effectively, yes, 10 million is gone. It's money that we spent, but then unfortunately for us, we normally hear monies that are spent to rescue situations. We normally hear monies that are spent to, unravel something that, was supposed to be a criminal case. But at the end of the day, we don't get anything out of it. So I'm hoping that this 10 million that has been injected to Yoko, we should be able to get something out of it. And then whatever the state is going to lose as a result of this cleanup, from the investigations they will do, we should be able to get something out of it.